So what do you look forward to during the wedding season?
Oh, I'm kind of a fan of the chicken dance a little bit. Maybe some hors d'oeuvres. I think is that how you pronounce it? Hors
Hors
d'oeuvres.
d'oeuvres.
Yep. Get to see people, shake some hands, kiss some babies. Like it's what's worse than going to a wedding? I mean, it's all about love, right?
All about love, a little bit of dancing, a little bit of romancing. Those are great. Good time.
Yep. Put it all in a bottle, put a cap on it, and keep it stored away for when you need it. Yep. Good times.
But the other season that's happening right now is the Iowa high school baseball season, right? And you're the road warrior. You're
Absolutely.
the guy that's pounding the pavement, and you just came back from Des Moines and got a glimpse of some of the future, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah, it was a really good night. Got a chance to see Joey Oakie, who we have ranked number one in the Iowa 2024 class, University of Iowa commit from Ankeny Centennial. Um, he was lights out. He's gonna fast track through the year. He obviously is gonna have a ton of MLB buzz going into next year's draft. I mean, he comes out of the chute 94, 96, spinning breaking balls in the 86, 88 range. Super competitive, fiery on the mound. He's just not going through the motions. He's just flat out in attack mode the whole time. And it was really impressive. I think he went 5, 6 innings, racked up 14 strikeouts against a top five ranked team in Dowling. He was the real deal.
Yeah, and if you want to see some video of that, you got some good shots of him at our PBR Iowa Twitter account. When you're watching him out there, what does he remind you of? Who do you see in similarities with him?
Just from the Des Moines perspective, I think people they're gonna kind of revisit Jeremy Hellickson a little bit. I think he's built pretty similar to Justin Hackett, who obviously was a big name last year. Maybe a little taller, a little leaner, but he's definitely starting to fill out. It just what's impressive about him is he's generating that top end velocity without like it's moderate to medium effort at most. The arm works really well. He's not blowing a gasket trying to get the baseball up to the plate. It's pretty free, easy, athletic, and his upside is just
And
unbelievable.
and he's landing secondary pitches as well. He's not just blowing doors the whole time.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. He really tried to use a three pitch mix early on, even with the high end velocity. The slider, like it wasn't great. It's a little bit of a gyro ball, maybe a little more of a cutter than a slider. But then once he kind of blew a little steam off, kind of settled in, then the breaking ball kind of settled in about 83, 84. Then it became pretty real. Like he was showing it to the middle outer half of the plate, taking it away from the hitter, getting a ton of swing and misses, really good depth on it, really good shape. Um, I think he was pretty geeked up to start the game. Centennial is ranked in the top five as well. It was a really good matchup. Like I said, I just think he was a little geeked up early, but once he settled in and blew a little gas off the top of the tank, it was lights
Of
out.
course, he was geeked up. He had Rob Allison behind home plate. You had your gun. You had your phone. I mean, how could you not be nervous in that situation?
Yeah, yeah, he saw the bucket hat and knew it was time to dial in, right?
And any other thoughts from that game, or any other players that jumped out at you?
Um, the Nicholson kid at Dowling plays short for them, committed to Iowa Central. Uh, he's just a really good baseball player. High energy guy, moves around the field, super competitive. Um, Really, I mean, what you're going to find in the CIML around Des Moines with those 4A teams is you just have a bunch of above average high school baseball players that know the game, that have played a lot, that are really well seasoned as a high school guy, and so you get pretty quality baseball. Get quality baseball, good guys moving it around, the ability to play catch, handle routine plays, all that type of stuff. It's just a higher quality of baseball in that conference in that area of the state than maybe what you're going to find. You know, Iowa City area is good, Dubuque area is good, Cedar Rapids, those. Um, you just have guys that have played more baseball and probably played at a little bit of a higher level, and iron is going to sharpen iron at times. Um, but yeah, it's really good baseball to watch.
Yeah, you got more of that coming up this summer. But you did mention Joey Oakie, number one in the 2024 class by Iowa PBR. You recently just updated the entire list here. What from
Yep.
that grade? What sticks out to you?
With the 24 class, I mean, we have typically in Iowa, you're going to have one or two guys that are maybe piquing draft interest. That are going to be guys that teams are going to need to follow and kind of cross check and watch. The top end of that class is really good. Like, ultimately, if guys perform, if they stay healthy, if they continue to develop, like, there could be anywhere from 4 to 6 in that class, which I think is going to create really good just national buzz for the state in general. And you got Oakie, Blake Larson, Miles Davis, and Marion is really good. Baumler is going to be on people's radars. A guy that I think has snuck up the list that I moved up in the rankings, Carson Grout, Iowa commit out of Mid Prairie. Um, Came back from, he had Tommy John last year, was on the shelf. Ultimately, like, I don't think the value in him is as a pitcher. And as a younger guy, he was kind of that dual guy. Like, he's pretty good on the mound. He's a pretty good position player. Where is he going to stick? What's going to be his strength? Playing through the Iowa Spring League with PBR, like, I think he's really solidified himself as a position player, left-handed hitter, country strong, can really drive the ball. Um, he's really interesting to me. I think there's going to be some teams that like him. Brett White obviously was a hot name last year. He went down through the winter with a shoulder injury from football. He's now just getting healthy again, but he's committed to Baylor. I think he's really interesting. You know, from him, the injury bug, Clayton Bolkema has been a really good guy in the state. Obviously, power for days as a left-handed hitter. He's down right now with an Achilles injury. Um, Hopefully, he can continue to rehab and get himself back to 100% with his commitment to Texas. And then from that kind of 8, 9, 10 down to 25, you have some really talented, interesting guys that are going to continue to develop over their senior year. And I think are going to be real surprises once you get to April and May of 2024. Matt Stoltenberg has had a really good early start to the season at Cedar Rapids Kennedy. Right now we have him ranked 12th. Played really well in the spring league as well. He's interesting. I think he's an infielder. I think the bat has continued to improve, but he has a little bit of a get out of jail free card. There's times where he'll get on the mound and he'll run it 86, 88, show a good breaking ball. So I think that creates some intrigue. And then you just kind of go down the list. I mean, I think when you look down, especially the 24 rankings, you're like, yeah, that guy's really interesting. Hey, that guy is too. And as you keep going, now you've all of a sudden you have like a list of 12 to 15 guys that are like, wow, like, this is interesting. This guy has a ton of ability, and it's going to be really, really cool to see where they're at towards the end of this
I
process.
mean, I think if you look at the top 15 guys, if you're a college recruiter, 13 of the 15 seem to be snapped up, right? So you look down there and there's not a whole lot of room to grab some of that top talent. Um, when you look at that 2024 class, are there any risers from your last rankings to now that you saw move up the rankings pretty quick?
Max Waldschmidt made a good jump up to number 20. Um, the last event of the spring I had him at, he was like up to 90, 91. I really like the arm, like the competitiveness. Uh, Jaron Bleeker's a guy I've talked about before. Had a solid spring, was still kind of working himself back into shape, was like 84, 86. And then I know he went out his first night of the summer season, and I believe Heelan played Sioux City East that night. I mean, he comes out of the gates, first game of the season, and I got a couple text messages. He was 90, 91. I think people kind of create this illusion in their mind of like, I'm only interested in the top 10, or schools are only going to be interested in me if I'm in the top 20. Like, you can keep going down this list into the 20s, into the 30s. Like, there's so much value in the overall 2024 class in Iowa. Um, if you're equating their value to what a ranking number is, you're probably shortchanging yourself. Like, you could go down this list for days and keep drilling down into guys and keep finding guys that are really good and probably have a chance to help a lot of college programs win games.
Yeah, that's an exciting part about that class. And we'll touch on the 25s and 26s, which drop those rankings here this month as well. But part of what you
Yep.
have coming up is some summer events to take a look at some of these guys of all ages, right? Do you want to touch on some of those events that are happening?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, I'm in the thick of it right now with the summer season, trying to get out, see guys, see teams, just try to accrue as much information as I can. To toot our horn, I mean, I think that's where we're built different. I guess is we don't just run showcases. Like yes, we do that, but at the same time, we're out watching games. We're on the phone with high school coaches. We're talking about players. We're accruing information. We're scouting. We're providing social media content. Um, like it's pretty all encompassing. Along with everything that I have going on in Nebraska or the Dakotas or Minnesota. So for the next couple months, I'm going to be a serious road warrior and be crisscrossing all over the place. But I think it's all going to culminate. What I'm really excited about is the Iowa State games coming up in August. That is, to be able to put all the better players in the state from a 2024, 25, and 26 perspective and try to provide an opportunity for all them to land at one facility, being Norwalk Central. Um, be there, be able to perform, showcase games, 70 plus coaches, all the bells and whistles. I just think that's going to be like the supreme wrap up of the summer and an opportunity for guys to position themselves and pretty much get ready for a onslaught of recruiting as they go into the end of August, September, and so on and so
So,
forth.
as the road warrior of the state of Iowa, do you pick a Casey's or a come and go when you're getting off to fill up takes?
100. Well, no
Yep.
offense to come and go, but I am a Casey's guy. I do like to brag about the amount of Casey's rewards points I have. Um, definitely rack those up. Uh, but no, I'm definitely I'm a Casey's guy, and opportunity to grab a piece of breakfast pizza. How can you pass
Yeah.
that up? And but yeah, definitely Casey's the whole way. That's why Minnesota is behind. Like there's maybe 5 Casey's in the entire state, and your guys' Safeways or whatever they're called are they're garbage.
We also have Quick Trip, which was nominated as the #1 gas station again. I just read that today, so I know that's a Wisconsin thing, but I'm all about the Quick Trip.
Your sources are
I'm not
suspect
sure how they pick
if
it. It's
quick.
like yeah, we had a big poll about everybody, or they actually have somebody hired to check out every gas station. But it's like it's a fun job, right?
Yeah, no matter big or small, wherever you're at in Iowa, you can never go wrong
Yeah.
with a Casey's. I've never been to a bad
No, I
Casey's.
can't disagree. Last topic here for our inaugural show. Obviously, we haven't said a name for our show. We didn't introduce ourselves as "Welcome to the Ducks on the Pond" podcast, which you'd also hear us on. But the Iowa PBR Iowa show needs a name, right? So you sent me a list, and I think I've got my personal preference, but I think it'd be nice to have listeners and followers help pick a name as well. So I'm just going to go down the list. You can react to what you think about some of these and tell me your thoughts. So the first one on your list was Heaven. No, it's PBR Iowa. How did that? Yeah, where did that one strike you?
I don't know. I pretty much sent you all these, Parker. As a long day, just kind of a big brain dump into an email. I may have got lightheaded at one point. Um, but yeah, continue down the
All right,
list. But
Farm
no,
Fresh.
like I think that's pretty spiffy.
Number 2 was
But
Farm Fresh Baseball. I think that covers a lot of prospect development. Iowa has farms, and fresh being fresh, right? That's a
yeah,
good name.
that yeah, I mean, I wake up every day, and I think that's the word that most people refer to me as. Like, yeah, Rob, he's
What a
pretty
fresh guy.
fresh. So yeah, he's so fresh.
Option
Yeah.
3 was PBR Iowa by the bushel.
Again, little tie-in with the agriculture, the farm, the Iowa aspect. Yeah,
Is that a technical farming term? Agriculture bushel? I don't. I'm from a.
are you not a bushel
There
and
you
a
go.
peck?
Okay.
You're not
No,
familiar. You're not familiar with any
is
of that.
by the bushel. It's a certain amount. Uh,
Yes,
num-
we'll
Number
go with that.
4
It's
was
fair.
Farm Fresh Country Strong, right? And that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's a good play. I like that one.
yeah. Kind of stole from one and added a little pizzazz on the back of
And
it.
I threw
Yeah.
this one out here to you a while ago, and partly because I'm an Arrested Development fan, if you're watching the show, but the Cornballers. Have you watched Arrested Development? Have you ever seen that show? Early 2000s? Yeah, the kids
No.
today don't know what I'm talking about. But it was a tool that they used to cook cornballs that apparently burnt everybody in the show, the comedy show. But Cornballers would be the name that I would recommend. So those, I like all of them. I just want to see what everybody else thinks of them too.
I would love a brainstorming session with the baseball community in Iowa. I would be more than welcome to look at any grand ideas of what would be a great name. Because really, I'm kind of jaded about this, Parker. Like, I helped come up with the name Ducks on the Pond for our podcast in Minnesota. I think that's very fitting. For 3 years, I harassed PBR Maryland that their podcast should be called Crab Cakes
Mm-hmm.
in Baseball. Stealing from the movie The Wedding Crashers, crab cakes in football, that's what we do. So they went with that. So I feel like I shot all my bullets right now on podcast names by giving them to everybody else. So any and all positive help on this would be greatly appreciated.
So up
sure.
here in Minnesota, we the Department of Transportation does an annual name the new snowplow bit where they take all the, I think one was Plowy McPlowface that was named Plowy McPlowface. I think that's a great name. But I think, yes, this list is good that you came up with. But we should also hear some other people out and see if we have good names like Plowy McPlowface for a podcast.
It's definitely a working operation. Like nothing has been etched in stone,
No.
that's for sure. And plus, there's a lot of people out there that are a heck of a lot smarter than I am. So as I just drum my brain and feel like a complete idiot, I'm sure there's someone out there that could probably help the cause a
Yeah, I
little
mean,
bit.
there
That'd
are
be good.
literally dozens of people in Iowa that could come up with some ideas. So, uh,
You would think. Yeah, you would think. Yeah, we have running water and everything, internet, all kinds of resources.
no,
It's a
I'm
great
also
deal. It's a
looking
great
forward to
deal.
spending more time with you guys in Iowa and seeing some of the events and some of the players too. So, I think for a first show with no name, I thought that went pretty well. Rob, any other words of wisdom before we sign off?
Hey, all the players in the state, remember to tag at PBR Iowa, hashtag Iowa Bomb Squad. Keep sending us your videos. They're super sweet. It's great to keep up on how guys are doing and send them over, and we'd love to repost them and put a little shine on your efforts and what you're getting accomplished this
All
summer.
right, be seen. Thanks, Rob.
All right. Thanks, Parker.